Okay, looks like we should be live. Hi everyone, I'm Josh. I'm the Teen Services Librarian here at the Pontiac Public Library. Every Tuesday this month, we're going to be doing a series of videos with our partners from the Michigan School and Government Credit Union. I have with me Colleen Godfrey, who is going to be our presenter, and we'll be doing this every Tuesday at 5:30. The first one is about checking account management. So with that, I will let Colleen take the lead here.
Hey, thank you so much, Josh. Oh, let me go back here. So myself, Colleen Godfrey, I'm on the left. My whole role is consumer education, teaching financial literacy. So MSGCU has lots of workshops and all kinds of financial education options. So this presentation, this checking is kind of your first steps towards financial freedom, independence. How do you manage your own accounts, your own money? I include these three pictures for a reason, because they look very similar, right? These cards kind of look the same. They're all Visa, but this card has a little debit, and this card has a little debit, and there's nothing here. So these two are debit cards, whereas this one is a credit card. And even though they look the same, they're very, very different. And tonight we're going to be talking about debit cards specifically. So just picking up any plastic card or any card that says Visa does not mean it's a debit card. So why get a debit account or checking account? Previously, you have your money either at home or likely in a savings account. And money is hard to access from a savings account. You usually don't get an ATM card. You have to go during business hours and go through the drive-through or walk in. So it's super convenient to have a debit account where you can pay bills, access online, go to any ATM. Being able to pay for things with your debit card, it's a whole new world. You can order things online. You can order things over the phone. You can, only take your ID and debit card somewhere, or even just, your ID and your phone somewhere. It's really has a lot of options for where you can make purchases. And a lot of people don't necessarily think about the security of it. Oh, I don't want to put my money in a bank or credit union. I'd rather it's safer here with me. Well, really, it's safer with us. If anything happens to your cash, you're the only one, who kind of knows and who's accountable for it. But if you put your money with us, I can't think of any situation where you would lose the money. But if you do, it's our responsibility to make sure you have that money protected, which is the National Credit Union Administration. So I want to focus on debit cards. And the two pictures that we have at the bottom here are two scenarios of making a purchase where you're kind of either swiping the card or putting the chip in. That would be a debit option, a debit transaction. Sometimes when you go to the register, the machine will ask you debit or credit, or the cashier will say debit or credit. They're not asking, is this a credit card or debit card? The machine knows it's a debit card. It already knows it's a debit card. But do you want to continue with a PIN transaction where you enter your 4-digit PIN? Not everywhere, but a lot of places will offer a cash back option, $20, $40, $60 back. The purchase amount is withdrawn from your debit account. It's taken out real time. Checking accounts usually have at least a $500 limit. We have a teen account with a $200 limit. So you'll want to find out and make sure you have, what your limit is. If you make a debit transaction, you're walking out of the store. I always use shoes as an example. So let's say we're buying a $50 pair of shoes. And we walk out of the store and we log on and it says, oh, look, my mobile app, it says Target $50, gone already. It's just like spending cash. So what happens if we hit credit? If we say credit, because we're using a debit card, right? Yes, we're absolutely using a debit card. It is not going to ask you to enter your PIN. Instead, you'll likely sign your name in the same way that at a restaurant. You know, you don't have the opportunity to hit debit or credit. You know, there's nowhere for you to put your PIN in. You're never going to tell the waitress your PIN, right? So it still comes from exactly the same place. It's withdrawn from your checking account, but you don't have an option for cash back. You don't enter your PIN. The payment is processed pending. The difference being, in this situation, you walk out of the store and you look and you say, oh, $50 Target is gone. If you hit the credit option, it would say, you log on and it would say, oh, $50 pending. As in, we see you went to Target. We see you spent $50. The money is mostly on the way out. The money's spoken for. You can't spend it again. So you'll see a deduction in the balance, but it'll say pending until it's completely finalized, brought over, sent to the vendor. Now, why do they exist? Why do we have two different ones? Which one should I tell you to use? Well, let's look at some motivations. Why would someone purposely choose the PIN option? Some people just really like putting in the PIN. They feel safer putting in a PIN. That it makes it feel more secure. Certainly, any situation where you need cash back, I love when I'm out of town, when I'm on vacation. I go to New York a lot. And, there might be ATMs around, but I don't know my way around. I don't want to find it. I'll just go to the nearest Walgreens or, they have Dwayne Reed over there and say, I'll take this and $80 cash back, please. And it's just like using an ATM. It comes from the same place. It's your $80. If you walked out of the store, it would say negative, let's say probably $82 if the water was $2. Some people prefer having that real-time withdrawal. They like being able to quick look at the balance. Yep, there it is. Yep, the money's there or the money's out. It's gone or it's there. So that's just a personal preference. Where you'll see debit transactions, lots of places, or places will give you an option. Retail stores, convenience stores, big box stores. If you are paying a bill online, and entering your account number and routing number to pay a bill, that does count as a debit transaction. That would be a real-time pull from your account. However, the credit option, why would someone purposefully choose the credit option? Well, you might just be in a situation you don't feel comfortable entering your PIN. There's someone behind you or you've got people with you you don't trust. It could be just purely a preference, prefer signature. My name, if you think Colleen, C-O-L-L-E-E, it's a bunch of loops. So honestly, I prefer signing my name. Also, credit options do not count towards your daily spending limit. So if you had, a $200, $250 textbook, or you had to pay a $200 bill today and you still needed to buy food, as long as you use that purchase as a credit option, it's not going to count towards your daily limit. Online, whenever you make an online purchase and you're typing in your debit card number, right? You're still making a purchase. It's kind of just like swiping it, but you're entering in the money. You're entering in the numbers. And you'd never put your PIN in, right? Don't ever put your PIN, on the internet if it asks you for it. Why? Because they don't need it. It'll be a pending charge. It'll show as pending, but pending does not mean you have extra time to put money in the account, to cover it. If you say, well, I'll spend the $50 now and I'll just make sure to put $50 in my account before the end of the day. Depending on what your financial institution rules are, 99.9% of the time, you need to have the money there. The money needs to be a liquid asset. It's not a credit card. You're not borrowing. You're not paying back. You are spending your own money from your checking account. Okay. Were there any questions about this? Because I know a debit card is something a lot of adults even aren't quite sure. They just choose the debit option, but don't necessarily know why they're making that choice. Any questions? All right.
I'm not seeing any, so.
There's no right answer. There's no right answer and there's no wrong answer. You know, which one should you pick? It depends on the situation you're in. You know, it depends on what you feel more comfortable with. It depends on if you'd like some cash. So I want to express the information so that you can just make an informed choice yourself. Was there going to be a question? Did I cut someone off? Okay.
No, I was just saying I didn't see any, just letting you know. Oh, there we go.
So visiting a branch from anywhere, credit unions, banks, I think every one of them has their own mobile app, their own online banking. It's really convenient. This generation, the high schoolers now are really learning everything through virtual, as opposed to learning how to fill out a check by hand first and putting it in the mail and putting the receipt with it and putting a stamp on it. So you guys won't learn that way, but you'll be really quick and really savvy at online banking and how to use virtual services for you. Going online for any financial institution, I suggest you set up e-statements for yourself, alerts. Going backwards. If you set up alerts, there's all kinds of text alerts. You could say, send me when a deposit has been made, or text me when my balance is lower than $50, or my balance is lower than $10. You can really personalize, things that you need help with. You can find something to help you. The mobile app, there's lots and lots of cool stuff to do on the mobile app. Sometimes you have to look for it. So just because you're opening a checking account, they're not going to necessarily go through all of the different features with you. So play around. Know how to check your balance. Know how to check your recent transactions. How to move money from account to account. Checking to savings if you wanted to. Fingerprint login is just convenient. Check if you have card controls, which is the ability to turn the debit card off if, I lost it. I don't think it's really lost. I think it's in the house, but I'm just going to turn it off just in case. And I'm going to keep looking. And at the end of the night, if I still don't find it, I'll call and report that it's gone. But I'm going to keep it temporarily turned off until I find it, because then if I find it, I can just switch it back to active and we're okay. Remote check deposit or remote mobile capture is really popular, really useful for certain situations. Young people, especially babysitting, landscaping, cutting hair, a lot of service industries that get paid by check. It's really beneficial to just be able to take a picture of the check and take a picture of the back, and it's deposited into your account. It's deposited the same way as if you were standing at a teller line, in that there's a hold. It's going to show a deposit, but the check has to, go through and make sure it's a completely valid check from a valid account before it goes through. So that's exactly the same for online. And setting up your bill pay. Online bill pay is different than mobile bill pay. You don't have to set it up twice. You only have to set it up once, but not everywhere offers offers mobile bill pay. And the newest and coolest is the mobile wallet. So as I was saying, sometimes you can just bring your phone. I actually have, my cards and stuff on the back of my phone here. But if you're going to, say you're going out on a music festival and you're worried about your stuff getting stolen, you're worried about your card, someone taking a picture of your card. So you bring your phone and you're buying things with the mobile app or mobile wallet. You can put your debit card in, you can add your credit card in, you can add multiple cards. If you wave it over, it's going to ask you what card do you want to use. It walks you through it. Super easy. This method is becoming more popular with the contactless service and people not wanting to, exchange money and have the touch. So it's really convenient if you just want to, slip your phone in your back pocket and go out. You aren't desperate, in a crunch sometimes. So yes, now it's, oh my goodness, this is the first time I need to change that to 2021. Yes, we know it's 2021. You still need to know about checks. You will still write checks sometimes. They still exist. They're still a contract. They're still legal tender. They're evidence. They're not a joke, So when I go into schools and I talk to teens about, you can't write like, oh, here, Josh, I'm going to write you $1 million check. Ha, ha, ha. Well, that's a legal document right there that I just signed my name to. And that's going to be real bad. I'm going to have negative $1 million. And it's not going to go well. Don't be silly. You don't write people's nicknames or grandma or put something inappropriate anywhere on the check, because these stay in your records. I mean, you've heard of situations where someone's, suing or looking back and there's a discrepancy and I need you to go back 3 years, and they'll have a scanned picture of exactly that check that either you wrote or that you received. Point being, know how to fill out a check properly. I'm not going to go through all of the details with you, but when you come across it, whether it's a down payment for a car or rent, sometimes places won't accept anything except a check. Make sure, ask someone that you're filling it out correctly. You have to have the words, the amount of words match the numerals. Make sure you're writing all the way to the left so that no one can fit in, $125. Don't leave anything to chance. Your signature, and make sure it's today's date, the day that you write the check. So keeping your account secure, using your mobile apps, you can make sure that you are monitoring your accounts. Commit to monitoring your accounts daily. You want to know, are all of these purchases mine? You're checking not just to kind of check on your own purchases, but to make sure there's not something there that shouldn't be. Sometimes a purchase will be down, a gas station will have a different name, and you might not recognize it and call up the credit union and say, oh, there was a Pontiac something that it says I spent $20 at, and I didn't go to any stores in Pontiac. Oh, well, that's a gas station. Oh, okay, well, you know what? You're right. I did get gas at that gas station in Pontiac. But there's nothing wrong with making sure, right? You want to be on top of that. If you miss, your card being used, whether it's gone from your pocket or not, whether someone just wrote the number down, you got to be really careful. Set up alerts and overdraft. Oh, I feel like we must have skipped an overdraft protection slide. Overdraft is when you go into the negative with your account. So if you were to buy those $50 shoes and you only had $20 in your account, you'd be negative 30. Because we don't want you to put it back. We want you to have those shoes, We don't want you to be embarrassed. But it's going to cost you some money, right? So why it's great to attend a seminar like this before you get your checking account is you can set up all of these safety nets and protections ahead of time or right when you get it started. So instead of going into the negative $30, you can have it set up so that that $30 gets taken from your savings account instead. It's not ideal. You know, you really shouldn't be taking the money from savings, but it's better than going in the negative, right? Because it's expensive. It's like $30, $25 each time you go into the negative. If you were to make 2 more stops after the negative 30, one at the gas station, one at the ice cream shop, now you're looking at $90 in charge in, you know, fees. So those alerts, those low balance alerts, you know, making sure you have multiple things set up, an alert and an overdraft protection. Make sure you actually have money in your savings account. If you only keep $5 to $10 in your savings, that's not going to do you much better. Make sure you fill out your checks carefully, correctly. Don't, because if it's returned, there's a fee for that, and it's not going to count as a payment, and you'll likely either have, you know, a delinquent payment or a late payment. Just double check that it's filled out correctly. Don't respond to solicitations of easy money. We have been hearing about, for the past 2 years especially, about these card cracking schemes where someone will come to you and say, oh, hey Josh, you know what, I've got this check. You know, my grandma wrote me this check here, but I don't have an account. I don't have a checking account. Can I deposit it into your account? And then you can just give me the money. And you know what? You can keep $20 for yourself. Sounds great, right? You know, win-win. So you either, you know, you deposit the check yourself, or you give me your ATM card. I put it in, I deposit it for you. But it turns out it wasn't a real check, wasn't good, wasn't from a real account. There was no grandma. And you already gave me all the money. You gave me that $100 or so. And now you're negative that money. And guess what? It's not fraud because you gave me permission. You either gave me the card or you were the one that deposited the fraudulent check. So there was no theft. There was nothing stolen. And it's situations like that that are infuriating because you're like, but I didn't know. That's not fair. I really thought that he was gonna, you know, just take $5 out and that's all. Well, they took a lot more, and because, you know, it was with your permission, there's no refunds or reimbursements. Never share your account information, your passwords, your PINs, even as, you know, just in no situation. Don't have the same password for everything. Don't have super easy, you know, passwords. Everyone thinks their PIN is someone's birthday. Try to think of something else. If you ever receive an email, especially for like a scholarship, oh, congratulations, you won. You know, we can't wait to put this $2,500 in your account for your school career. Please send us all your account information and you'll get right on that. No. Do not respond to that. No scholarship is going to put money directly into your account, and no scholarship would ask for your personal banking information. So just be very wary. You know, no one's going to protect your money, want to protect your money as much as you do. You know, don't allow others to borrow your debit card. Again, if they just take a picture or they just kind of write the numbers down, they can order something online. So you really want to hold all these, you know, private documents, even if it's plastic, you know, close to yourself. So debit accounts, checking accounts are a great, safe way to access your cash. You can get direct deposit, easily deposited right into checking. You can set it up so that, you know, maybe $10, $20, $30 automatically from your paycheck goes to your savings account and the rest goes to your checking account. I always recommend that. That way you don't have to kind of see the money and then put it in the savings, and it feels like you're losing it. It hurts. But if you don't even know what happens, oh, I got my paycheck. This is great. And as time goes on, oh yeah, that's right. You were putting in $20, and my savings is starting to build. Know where you can access it for free. Free ATMs. You want to use the same financial institution. If you have a Chase account, you'll need to look for a Chase ATM. If you have a Flagstar account, you'll need to look for a Flagstar. The great thing about credit unions is they're cooperative. And if you have any credit union account, MSGCU, Genesis, Lake Michigan, MSU, FCU, you can use any of those ATMs as a shared ATM. So if you're visiting your friends at college, and there's, University of Michigan Credit Union, and Oakland Credit Union, you can use those ATMs for free instead of the, $5-6 you're going to end up paying otherwise. And who wants to pay fees, right? Avoid fees. You don't want fees. No fees. If you have a checking account that is charging you fees, I would ask questions. Definitely ask questions. Likely you can do something to counteract those fees. If you get direct deposits set up, or if you sign up for e-statements, you using free ATMs, getting cash back at the register, not going into the negative, you should really never have to pay fees. It should just be a free, privilege to have someone safely hold on to your money. Were there any questions? Any questions at all?
Nothing on
So if
here.
you,
I'm checking Facebook to be sure. And nope, nothing there either.
when you'd like to open a debit account, you need to bring your social security number. You do not have to bring the actual blue card. You can just have the number. You do need government picture identification. So your driver's license, of course, works. Your passport works. A state ID works. But what if you don't have your driver's license yet? What if you're 16, 17, maybe even 18, but you don't have your driver's license yet? That's okay. You're still eligible to get a checking account. You can use a photo school ID. If you have a photo school ID, that should be accepted as valid identification. And that's it. You don't have to prove you have an income. You might have to put a couple dollars down for a minimum balance, but checking accounts rarely ever have a minimum balance. It's just a really super fancy piggy bank that you can use to do all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, and I'll throw it out there again. Is there any questions about anything related to debit cards or checks or checking accounts?
Let's see. I don't have anything new in either places, but I know we have someone out here with us. Deja, do you have any questions for Colleen? Well, it's not looking like it. I'm not getting a response, so.
So, well, if you think of any later on, you can always reach out to myself, workshops at msgcu.org. You can attend any of the upcoming Tuesday workshops. I'd be happy to help.
Yeah, and if you reach out to the library, we will do our best to relay them to Colleen. We have her email, so. I think that might be it for today then. Thank you everyone for joining us. Let me get back on camera here. Thank you everyone for joining us for the first in the series of teen financial education classes. The next one will be next Tuesday, which is the 13th at 5:30, and it's going to be on building and boosting credit, I think, or no, it's not yet.
Right.
The next
you gotta
one,
get you gotta make sure you can successfully manage your checking account before you can move up to credit. So
no, the next one is credit cards. Building and boosting credit's the third one. So yes, next week we'll be talking about credit cards.
okay. Either way.
Okay. Have a good evening, everyone, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good night.